September 19th, 2024. This is the S&P 500 futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Overall, it seemed like there was a rally and then a sideways consolidation, but in the sideways consolidation, there was kind of a bullish bias, but not really anything to draw, I guess, a trend line on. So I just saw like a couple of legs and it was just bouncing around. Most of the movement happened in the pre-market. It's testing all-time highs. Like yesterday was just crazy from the FOMC meeting. Today, it was a little more subtle, a little more quiet. I think it's people are just digesting what's happened yesterday. There's only one really big piece of economic data that came out, which is around 5:30. So it happened right after this big run-up happened. So it's 5:30 Pacific Standard, right about here. And as you can see, it really didn't do that much. It was the unemployment claims. And I actually saw there was two trades that I took. The first one I thought was all right, and then the first one was all right, but it was a little late, and the second one was probably a lot more risky. And I think in hindsight, I should have just left it alone. Then in the rest of the chart, I didn't really see that many other setups. So going to the charts right now. So the pre-market, you see it kind of just, well, if you take it from about right here, 56.93, it moved pretty much 82 points. No, 86 points, which is quite impressive. This is just all in the pre-market. And then on the open, right before the open, it kind of sold off, did a spike after the break of the orange up channel, made one attempt up, made a second attempt up, and it sets up what I thought, well, I considered it an almost trade because I also saw this as a new low. So a first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and these two actually create a lower high. I thought it was an almost trade because it's after the break this orange up channel, broke, tested the highs, made two attempts up, flushing down, potential one test, two tests, maybe a third touch, close enough, third touch, like a triple test, and it's at the highs. It's testing the all-time highs, so I wasn't really sure. I also didn't like that. I like that this candle engulfed this previous one, but it stopped short of breaking through the EMA. It broke through and then it closed at the end. If this had actually closed at the low, then I think I would have considered it a worthwhile trade potentially, but it's also a really large risk. You can see that this is 17 ticks. So something like that, you need an even more reliable setup. So something like that, I just didn't want to take the risk on. The price is sold off on this orange down channel. It breaks through this support because I thought there might be a support here because it looked like there was some kind of respect paid to it. Here, broke out, failed breakout, came back in. EMA is starting to hold prices down. I also saw a new high here, first entry long, second entry long, but the second entry long and a second entry long failure, it just doesn't feel reliable when I wasn't sure about the status of this support line because at the time I thought this could very easily be kind of a rangy area. So you don't know that this is going to happen. So you need a better setup, especially if you're thinking first entry short. This has to be a better signal bar. Prices move down and it kind of sets up for my first trade. So it starts moving down what I thought is this green down channel. I did have this, I think, pointing like this at one time, like the orange, and something like this. And I saw it treated as a failed breakout, but the bottoms didn't touch too well. But I ended up kind of aligning it roughly right here. So I had a decent touch here, decent touch here. And in real time, I'm seeing something like this. So I see a new low, it's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, confirm, second entry short. But the follow-up trigger bar is a little iffy because it closed bullish. But you also have this break of this orange up channel, test of a new high. So I'm thinking, could it possibly be a push up, a second leg up here? Because maybe this, well, this downtrend, if you trust the green down channel, as a failed breakout wants to test the low, but it doesn't have to be that way. It could actually test, consolidate, and make another leg up. So I wasn't really sure. I had to wait. So here, there's already confirmed second entry short. It opens at the same high. It opens at this, excuse me, it opens and then it hits the same high and it starts flushing. So I actually went past where my entry is, came back up, and it was moving. And when the life of this candle was about to end and it was still dwelling down here, I thought, okay, I think there's enough momentum to press down. So this could be treated as a failed breakout. So I actually entered right when it flushed down. I did chase a little bit because this is a lot lower than I would have wanted. I would have wanted my entry Ideally at the same lows as right here, so 57, 58, 25. But instead I got in at 56.50. So it's like almost 2 whole points below where I wanted to be. If anything, at least one tick below here. So I actually entered this trade a little late and I chased it, which isn't the best. But I felt the setup was clean, especially after watching this candle tick down from 2000 and it was about to close. And I thought, okay, well, it looks like unless it has a crazy reversal, which it could, flush back up. I saw the EMA is holding prices down. Maybe this is a decent resistance with a failed breakout coming back in. So I entered here. Then I actually closed above my entry. It flushes down. It gives me my profit target. And then I move my runner, which is actually up here, down to here, one tick above after this guy closed. Then it moved down. I moved it down to one tick above here. Again, chasing it down. Again, chasing it down. So now, right now, my runner is one tick above this candle, and it finally flushes up, takes me out. But then I think I chased it pretty well, managed the runner pretty decently because there was no need to wait for this swing high to play out because it might have creeped all the way back up, and as you see, it does creep back up, and then I would have lost any potential profit. So I'm okay moving it one tick below the previous. Here, technically, I should have moved it down to here, but I wanted to give it a chance to go up and then continue downwards. Unfortunately, it didn't work out like that, but the runner was still pretty decent. Prices continue moving down. It actually creates a higher low. This higher low I thought was an almost trade as well. The thing I didn't like, I did like that it engulfed this candle, but I really wanted this to actually tick one tick below this guy, like tick below and then flush up. It's still a decent setup if you're more aggressive, and it closed right at the EMA. There's a failed breakout here, potentially it's bottomed and it's moving upwards now for correction because it hit the bottom here once, hit the bottom here twice. It tried to, two times, tried to hit the lows of this channel, first attempt, second attempt. You could say maybe it's another attempt here, but it's more like a higher low. So I thought it was an almost trade because it was a decent setup if you're more aggressive, but I just wanted a little bit more bulletproof setup. In this case, since I was going to skip it, I was thinking, well, if it turns out to be a second entry short failure, then maybe I'll jump on it. Unfortunately, it breaks up and over the EMA, and you do get your second entry short here, and there's a failure here, but now it's too far from the EMA. So the trade's gone. I'm not going to, it's not something to chase after at that point. Prices move up, hits this consolidation area, pushes down. I find what I think is this yellow support trend line, and I put the top end here as a channel. But I don't trust the resistance top side too much, but I do trust the support side somewhat because it looks like there's three confirmations. Pushes up, it hits this consolidation area, which I then extended out. And it sets up for a second trade that I took. So here I saw this as a consolidation. It's a failed breakout, bounce off the bottom, moving back up, a corresponding failed breakout on this side, and then it creates a higher low. Now this is the second trade I took, and in real time, I also thought it was aggressive, but I took it anyways, which isn't the best reason to take a trade. I saw a failed breakout. Technically, you have a new low, you have a first entry short, second entry short. Also, if you reset the count here, you have a first entry short, push up, and then push back down. So technically, starting from the count here, because new low, first entry short, second entry short, count resets, first entry short. On the same candle, you have a second entry short. Second entry short, unfortunately, closes above the EMA. So that's what makes it aggressive because I thought this was a decent setup. So I dropped my order in right away. So right when it opened, I got filled, pushes up. I had to sit through this candle, then it flushes down. And actually, unlike yesterday, it goes down to my profit target, takes me out. As soon as I got my profit target taken out, I was dragging my runner stop loss all the way down to about right here. And I actually think I got a little bit lower. I'm not sure how that happened, but I was kind of putting it right here and it flushed up. And I think I got a little bit better, well, a little bit less of a loss than I would have if it was actually one tick above. So actually, I got the profit target on the core, and then I lost a little bit on the runner. Because ideally, I want the runner to be at least break even plus one, but I didn't have enough time to drag it down. To support and pushing against the EMA. So here,
I should have paused and thought about it. It's like, is this really a trade? Then it opens below. I jumped in right away, flushes around, but I failed to give the respect of this um, support to take in consideration that it could bounce. So it was more dangerous because, as you can see,
would have taken me out. Like this entry here, got the profit target. This candle would have taken me out. No, actually, I take that back. My stop is up here. So actually, this candle over here would have taken me out. So this isn't the best trade. But had I waited a little longer, it sets up a decent possible trade. I thought this is actually a decent trade because it's a new high. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. Then you have a true higher low bouncing off the support of the yellow up channel, bouncing off the EMA. So this is actually a good trade to have taken, but I was kind of like pretty thrilled about this trade that I saw this and didn't really jump on this fast enough, and I missed this potentially better trade. As you can see, it was a lot safer. You could have gotten like at least like 2, 3, 4 points off of this. Then prices move up. It makes and finishes a measured move from here, one leg up, pull back, second leg up. It hits this choppy area that was hard to really contain in one clean trend line. So I thought it was a trend line and then a drop, and it hits a consolidation area here. And as you can see, it's like a first entry short, and technically you have a second entry short here, but it's too close to the low, so I'm not thinking of going short here. Prices then kind of chop sideways. Saw a fail breakout of potentially this trading range. It's a new high. It's a first entry long, push up. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but I wasn't really thrilled about the second entry long. Potentially first entry long, second entry long, and a lower high, but it's kind of in the middle of the range. A fail breakout, you could expect prices to come back and push through here, but it's a little choppy for my taste. So I didn't really want to consider taking this trade, but I will mark it. Actually, I don't have it marked right now. Like a second entry long and potential higher low. So I think it is a possible trade if you're a little more aggressive. Prices move up. Made two measure moves. There's a first entry long here. Technically, you have a second entry long here. I'm not thrilled about this because the inside bar and it's doji just looks a little spindly. And when you pass it up, like these next few candles look like they're having trouble pushing up because you have a lot of tail at the top. So if you waited for this to confirm your first entry long, second entry long, I would be cautious because it confirms the second entry long, but look, it looks like it's trying to press back down. Next candle, it closed below this guy. And so what I mean is it's on the lower half of the close. So it looks like it's still having trouble. It could reverse and push back down. I have no idea what's going to happen. So there was nothing really worthwhile there. Prices then continue moving up. It just kind of moves up. It gets a little choppy. You have a new low here, first entry short, but you could say this is a localized low. First entry short, second entry short. No real setup here that I like. Pushes up. It kind of hits this consolidation area. So I saw maybe there's this yellow up channel. Break. One attempt up. Pull back. Second attempt up. I also saw it as a visual new low, first entry short, second entry short. If you do the technical count, it's actually first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, maybe another reset. First entry short, second entry short, but I saw it was two legs up. First attempt down, second attempt down, a triple test, maybe a trade here, like a possible trade, because prices are hitting resistance up until this point. Looks like it's coming back down. I had wished that this signal bar was bearish, actually red, but it is a very like bearish leaning bull bar. In other words, the close is higher than the open, but it is like very, very biased to the downside. So this is a possible trade. You plus have enough room for EMA scalp. It did give me pause that I would be counter trend trading, but I also like the fact that it made a new all-time high all on this candle. This is a new all-time high. Most likely it's kind of pushed back for a correction. And it kind of does, so you would have enough for a quick scalp, maybe 1 or 2 points. Prices continue moving up, moves up on this yellow up channel. Things are really tight. Price action here. You have a new high first entry long count resets. You have a first entry long here, second entry long here. I wasn't that thrilled about this setup because these candles are just very, the bodies are very neutral. So you can tell this tug of war between the buyers and the sellers are pretty strong. So even though this is a technical second entry long, I didn't feel very comfortable marking or taking that trade. Prices moved down. So I saw one leg up, pull back, and a potential second leg up. So I wasn't sure if this, let's get rid of this guy real quick or just move him to the side. First entry long, second entry long. I wasn't sure if this was considered completion of the second leg. There was a breakout of this yellow down channel, excuse me, this orange down channel. The orange down channel itself wasn't the best fitting. So whether this is actually what the channel looked like, or it's actually something here, or even all the way down here, I'm not sure, but I didn't like this bigger one because there's all this empty space here, and that's an empty space here. I would expand it to this if I had more price action confirming downwards. So at the time, I treated it as something like this, of a breakout, a dwell outside, and a push back in. I saw this as a new low, say first entry short, second entry short failure. Now, I saw this and I wasn't really that thrilled about it because when you have a second entry short, you're not thinking of going short yet because it closed right at the EMA, didn't push through. You have this failure occur here now, but the failure is struggling. It closed the halfway point, so this isn't a very strong indication. Ideally, this bar would have closed green. So you had a first entry short, second entry short, and you think, okay, this bar closed green. It looks like it's about to fail. Then this guy wouldn't be so, it wouldn't be as a red flag. If this is closing red and it looks like it's losing a battle here, it kind of throws some caution all over. And it does work though, but it's hard to say that that would have worked uh, reliably. So then you have this push up and it starts breaking down here. I saw this as a new high, say first entry long, pull back, second entry long, second entry long. So that's again, first entry long, right here is first entry longs made. On this same candle, you have your second entry long made. But I didn't like that it made it up to the high and then before it closed, sellers pushed it all the way down back here, clearly far from the EMA. Had this candle closed at the high and above the EMA, then I would feel more confident in a push up. It'd be a first entry long pullback, very decisive second entry long on this candle. But when you see this in real time, you see it close like this, again, just caution just flashes like, okay, this green down channel does want to test its low. It can still do that. We're not sure. But it flushes up, but it does create a second entry short here that fails. So it's a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. And this one does what I wanted this one to do. Second entry short fails, closes very decisively strong. I don't have this down channel drawn yet, but I think you could have dropped in an order, say at the highs here. It looked like you would have opened, flushed down, and then eventually picked you up for your one, probably for me, my 1 point scalp, and then closed low. So this would have been like a pretty quick trade because as you can see, it chops sideways, then flushes down, and one of these candles would have stopped you out if you were trying to go for a really big move. But when you're seeing this, I don't think you would have thought for going a really big move because up until this point, price action just looks like it's sideways. So there's nothing really indicating that it's ready to make a big move upwards. Then it kind of chops sideways, makes two legs up. I don't really see any clean setups. And this is getting to the last 10 minutes of the day where things just get choppy. And I don't want to be involved in something like this. Excuse me. So that's kind of how I saw it today. Not too many setups. One decent trade that I took that I feel like it was a little bit of a late entry, this guy here. And then this one was, I was fortunate to even get out, but my runner got stung because actually the price action moved back up and took out my runner higher than my break-even point. So in an ideal world, I think I should have just taken this trade, then probably this higher low and skipped this lower high. And it probably would have been, I think then it would have been a good trade that I took. Like first trade is good, second trade would have been better, not this lower high. So hopefully that was helpful.